And I know we all have the authority of the believer, but this is Kenneth E. Hagin's Legacy edition, which has a lot more in it. And I was just kind of blown away at some of the things that he said in here, that is pertinent to how we believe. And a lot of times people say, well, when I see it, I'll have it. Or when it manifests, and I know I have it. But you have to believe before it manifests that you have it.
Yes. That's right.
You can't see it, and you may not be able to feel it. But before it manifests, you have to believe that you received it. And you act like that. Now that's a lot for a lot of people. But I'm going to tell you by experience, it works. A lot of times people say, well, once I see it, then I know I have it. Mm-hmm. Well, you're out the ball. You're out the faith game in anyway, because you have to believe you receive when you pray. So in Mark 11:24, now Kenneth E. Hagin asked himself a question. He asked himself, do we have authority that we don't know about? That we haven't discovered, that we're not using? Now, think about that. This is what he said. He asked himself this question. Do we have authority that we don't know about? That we haven't discovered? That we're not using? Now, I don't think anyone's problem or what they're experiencing in life or going through is more difficult than someone else's, because it's unique to you and what you're going through. So it may be different, but it's still faith. It's not just, well, this is my situation is a little different than yours. No, it may be different, but still it takes the same ingredients of faith to receive the victory. And when I was struck when Brother Hagin asked that question, do we have authority that we don't know about? How far have we read, and how far have we studied, and how far have we believed? Even if it hasn't manifested yet, you have to believe that you received when you prayed. Now, just as we believe we receive when we pray, we can negate that with our mouth. Even your thoughts can negate that. And so you have to do this. You have to put a guard over your mouth so you don't insert your negative foot in it. You have to put a guard over your mouth. And that's hard for people, especially when they're under the pressure of that thing. When they're under the pressure of that thing, you bump up against them and it just comes spewing out. So what happens is they have negated their faith. They have to start all over again. Now, let me say this. For all of you here that's in the congregation here, I'm your pastor, so when we talk, it's a different thing. You're telling me so I can come alongside of you with my faith. But when you go outside of that and you tell this friend, and you say that to that friend, or you call this person up and you're talking about the situation, you are negating your faith. Okay? And I'd be very careful who I ask to stand with me, because when you ask people to stand with you or to agree with you, you don't know where their faith level is. And And do you know did they receive all of the promises that they believed for? Did they get the victory that they were asking for or believing for? You have to be very careful who you ask to come into agreement, because everybody may say, yes, I'll be in agreement with you. But the minute you turn your back and walk away, they have forgotten to be in agreement. And they just said that out of courtesy. And you have to wonder one thing. Do they have the faith to come into agreement with you? To stand with you? Because you look at their own life. And when you look at their life, did they get victory over things that they prayed for? So I certainly don't want somebody standing with me who is up and down and up and down, and they haven't received faith for what they pray for. They're not able to help me. So a lot of things have to be taken under consideration. Mark 11:22 starts out by saying, and Jesus answering saith unto them, have faith in God. Not the person that you ask to pray with you, believe with you, and stand with you, unless you can see it demonstrated in their life, but have the God kind of faith. Have faith in God. Okay, have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, what would the mountain look like? It could look like anything that is hard in your life. That is a mountain. It's anything that is hard in your life, that is your mountain. Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart. Now, shall not doubt in his heart. Not the head, it's in the heart. Shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, and he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when ye pray. Now, the moment that you pray, whatsoever you desire, you believe, right then you receive it. Whether it's, as she said on the broadcast, whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it is a sickness or disease, whether it's a financial need or a job, it's all by faith, okay? So I have to believe when I pray right then that I received it and I shall have it. Now the believing comes first, and then I'm looking for it. I'm thanking God for it. I'm acting as if it's mine. I don't let any negative thing come out of my mouth, period. Because there's many ways to negate our own faith. What things soever you desire healing. You desire deliverance. It's all the same thing. Kenneth Hagin said that he was thankful for his salvation. He always was thankful. So he was always saying he was thankful for his salvation. He was thankful for all of these things. He never let it slip or or get away from him, and even thanking him that, yes, my body is healed because by his stripes I am healed. I was healed. I am healed. All of these things he began to confess on a daily basis. Now, he didn't get up in the morning and say, well, okay, this is my time of devotions, and I'm going to make these. No, it was an automatic thing that transpired all through his day. He was thankful, and he let the Lord know how thankful he was. And he also said this, I saw exactly what that verse in Mark 11:24 meant. Until then, I was going to wait until I was actually healed before I believed I had received my healing. Okay. Now I'm going to say that again. He said, I saw exactly what that verse in Mark 11:24 meant. Until then, I was going to wait until I was already healed before I believed I had received my healing. I was looking at my body and testing my heartbeat to see if I had been healed. But I saw that the verse says, you have to believe when you pray. The having comes after the believing. Okay? The having comes after the believing. He also talks about, I'm just going to read this little paragraph here. Finally, Kenneth Hagin knew he had been healed, but then he had to act on it. On the outside, the situation had not changed. He was still bedridden. He still could not move his legs. Excuse me. The only thing that had changed was the light of revelation Kenneth Hagin had on the inside. Now, the only thing that's changed, he had a revelation. Until that you have that revelation, you're still in the process. Okay? The Holy Spirit said to him, if you are healed, then you should be up and out of the bed. Ooh. If you are healed, there's a different way you act. There is a different way you speak. If you are healed, then you should be up and out of the bed. In agreement, Kenneth pushed himself into a sitting position. Now remember, he was born in a little, and he was put in a little shoebox, and they said he should die. If you get rid of him, he's dead. But something was in him to fight, even as a baby. He had destiny and purpose. Ooh. What do you think about us? Why are we wanting to just roll over and not do what the word says to do, to step into and walk into our destiny and purpose? In agreement, Kenneth pushed himself into a sitting position. He was bedridden. He couldn't get out the bed. He couldn't move. He was paralyzed. Some people's minds are paralyzed. Then used his hands to swing. Now think about this. I was getting a visual of this. Then pushed himself into a sitting position, then used his hands to swing his legs off the bed one at a time, with the devil fighting him every step of the way. Kenneth began to proclaim that he was healed and that he would stand and walk. But he was paralyzed. He's paralyzed. How's he going to stand and walk? He can't even move. He slowly but surely worked his way into a standing position. Now, people will say, well, that's just Brother Hagin. The same thing works for you if you work it. Grasping tightly the post of the bed that had held him for 16 long months. After some initial dizziness, now most people would stay in the bed. Oh, I'm dizzy. I better not do this. They stay in the bed. They would not move past that state. Therefore, they would have negated their faith. Okay. After some initial dizziness, feeling started to come back to his legs. It was like 2 million pins pricking me, Kenneth said. After a short time, the pain subsided, and he began to walk around the room. He told no one about it. He didn't get on the friendship hotline or the family hotline and call the members all up and tell them everything. This is what happens to a lot of people. They need to keep their mouths shut. They talk too much. And they sabotage what God is doing in their life. He told no one about this, but did it again the following morning. The following morning, in August 1934, Kenneth got out of the bed, dressed himself, and joined his family at the breakfast table. As soon as he received his healing, Kenneth was eager to share his experience with anyone who would listen, preaching whatever and whenever he had the chance. Most people would have went right back to their lifestyle and what they were doing before that. He